Representative Bob Good is a Republican, and he decided to go on MSNBC and have a discussion about the debt ceiling. Now, Katie Tur is going to grill him here and ask him some very simple, straightforward questions that he has absolutely no answer to. Look, this is embarrassing. You are a representative, and you have no answer to these questions? So I'll play it for you, and then we'll react.
Path to fiscal responsibility.
Let me ask you,
the Biden-Schumer position is only supported by 20% of Americans.
Let me ask a question in here. I know you said that you would have voted for the Trump tax cuts. Would you vote to extend the Trump tax cuts?
Oh, absolutely, because, again, that is incentivizing. That's incentivizing the right things.
The CBO says,
that is key to
that is key. $3.5 trillion to the deficit.
We cannot sustain the 1 to 2% anemic Biden growth. We got to get back to 3 to 4%, the Trump growth patterns that was fueling our economy previously. So it's growth as well as cuts that'll get us on a path to fiscal stability.
Let me ask you a question about the deficit, though. If you are going to vote to extend those tax cuts, that's a $3.5 trillion add to the deficit per the CBO. That is a big addition. If you want to cut spending and you want to get us on a path to a balanced budget, I mean, it seems like that would be in conflict with your goal.
That's historically just inaccurate. Every time we cut taxes, we generate more growth, we generate more revenue. The Democrats predicted back in 2017 that when we had those tax cuts, we would have a reduction in revenue and therefore increase the deficit. And the Democrats lie and say that the deficit and the national debt has grown because of the tax cuts. That's simply not true. When revenue as a bottom line number, when you grow the pie, you only have to take a smaller percentage of it to fund your government. We've grown the pie, and that's why we've got record revenue coming in. We've never been $5 trillion a year in revenue until the last couple of years, and that is in large part because of the Trump economic policies, including the tax cuts.
It's not the Democrats. It's the CBO that says this. I'm not naming any Democrats. I'm giving you the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us.
At the end there, she's literally laughing in his face. She's laughing at him. She's laughing at him. What he's saying is a joke. So his argument is, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a deficit hawk and I'm a debt hawk, but I definitely want to continue the Trump tax cuts. Well, her point is, hold on one second. It added $2 trillion to the deficit. And if you want to continue it, it'll add $3.5 trillion. So you can't, those things don't add up. You can't say, hey, I'm a deficit hawk, but also continue the Trump tax cuts. You have to pick one. Either you prioritize the tax cuts or you prioritize the deficit and debt reduction. It's one or the other. They are mutually exclusive by definition. And what's his... Actually, see, the thing, what happened was the sun was in my eyes and me and Craig and them was down by the Safeway, and when it's not even true that this adds to the deficit, it's the thing that when you cut taxes, it grows the economy, and so even though you're paying a lower rate, you get more revenue. But we have the historical record. What you're saying is not true. Who was the king of trickle-down economics? You all know this. There's another term for it. It's called Reaganomics, or as George H.W. Bush used to call it, voodoo economics. Why do you call it voodoo? Because it doesn't work. So what happened? Well, he cut taxes for the rich and he deregulated the economy, and we colossally exploded the debt and the deficit. Because it turns out when you cut taxes, you cut revenue into the government as well. That's what happens. It happened under Reagan. Don't take my word for it. Every chart out there will verify this. Reagan exploded the debt and the deficit. He exploded it. Record debt and deficit at the time. Now, who's the next one who fully embraced trickle-down economics? You all know this too. George W. Bush. Cut taxes for the wealthy, deregulate the economy. Same thing. Record debt and deficit. Record. Because when you cut taxes for the wealthy, and by the way, you do 2 wars and put it on the credit card, it's going to explode the debt and the deficit. That's exactly what happened. Under Trump, same thing. Same thing. Every single time this is tried, this is the result. It is not true that, you cut taxes for the rich and you'll unleash the beast of the free market economy and there will be so much growth that even though they're paying a lower rate, it'll actually be more revenue for the government and you won't add to the debt and the deficit. It's not true. It's fundamentally not true. And he keeps trying to make it a partisan thing. Well, the Democrats are telling lies about this, and that's why you keep bringing up what the Democrats say, and it's not true. And she's like, I'm talking about the Congressional Budget Office. The Congressional Budget Office is a nonpartisan office. Sometimes stuff comes out of it that the Democrats don't like. But this is a fact that sticks in his craw because it makes his whole ideology and philosophy and economic outlook look stupid. You want to know why? Because it is. By the way, 83% of the benefits of that tax bill that he supports, the 2017 Trump tax cuts, 83% went to the top 1%. That bill incentivized corporate outsourcing. From the president who said, I'm going to be the anti-outsourcing guy. It incentivized corporate outsourcing. And this is what he supports. You can't take any of these guys seriously. Rand Paul does this too, right? I'm a deficit hawk, I'm a dead hawk, but he supported these tax cuts as well. It's one or the other. It's one or the other. You have to pick. You can't have it both ways. And that's why somebody like Katie Tur, who, by the way, I don't even know how much I agree with her. I don't even know how smart I think she is or not. I don't know, right? I'm not all that familiar with her. But you're making her laugh in your face because you have no clue what you're talking about. Or you're just lying. Those are the only options. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.